Our scripture reading this morning is from Psalm 69:14. Rescue me from the mire. Do not let me sink. Deliver me from those who hate me, from the deep waters.
Good morning. I'm not sure if you remember my homily from last year. It wasn't that memorable, but let me run y'all down on a couple things that have happened since. First off, as mentioned in the last homily, the girlfriend I had has left. Please don't ask any questions. Second off, I'm still the troublemaker out of the kids. Kind of. Aston's catching up, but he doesn't make bad grades and cuss a lot. But another thing has changed, which I'm sure all of y'all, or at least most of y'all know about, is the health of my granddad. In January, he was hospitalized after a couple of falls, and for 3 long, very rough months, he was released. But around 3 months in, all hope seemed lost. With his health slowly declining, we expected the worst. The last granddad I had was slipping in front of me. With me struggling with a lot of mental issues by myself, it seemed as my whole world was coming down. But one day in the Waco hospital, with my aunt, grandma, and mom out of the room, I talked to him while he was asleep, which kind of sucks because he would have been proud of what I said. At least I was proud. I said, "Papa, that monitor is still beeping for a reason. You're eventually going to be awake for a reason. God hasn't let you go yet. If He had finished your story, you'd be with Him right now. But there's a reason God woke you up today." As the week went by, I had forgotten about what I said. But as I got home from school, I had heard from my mom that he had walked by himself again. From what we once thought was a closed chapter, had only started a new one. And as time went on, he got stronger. He got his speech back and went home. I was nervous, but I'm 16. What do I know? And one day, as I'm sitting in the living room with my grandparents, I say, "Papa, how does everything feel?" He replied, "I had to come to God," which didn't really answer my question, but it made me realize, did what I say really matter? Did it really help this man become himself again? And to answer your question, Pastor Dakota, yes, it did. So next time you're feeling lost or hopeless or drowning in some shape or form, remember this guy. Mimi, can you raise his hand, please, so people know where he is? Thank you. Nothing is impossible. Maybe God is just one talk away.
Okay. Everyone has different ways of handling different situations. Mine is to shut down and don't show my emotions. If someone asks me if I'm fine, I'm fine. Even if deep down inside, I just want to cry. 2 of my favorite Bible verses of all time are Exodus 14:14 and Matthew 6:25. Exodus 14:14 saying, "The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still." And Matthew 6:25 that says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than the clothes?" I'm a very independent person, and I always want to try and do everything myself. So these quotes help me remind myself that God is always here to help me. But here's the real question: how? These are just quotes, yes. So how do his words physically help me? Well, here's the answer: softball. Yes, I know this might not sound like a real answer, but it is for me. Softball is one of the most important things in my life. Up until this year, I thought it was going to be all rainbows and sunshine. But that was not true. This has been one of the roughest years of softball of my life. This season has gone from me loving to now maybe not playing anymore. But even through it all, God has still been there to push me and prove that He will fight for me and with me no matter what. And for me, despite it all, I'm okay with that. As for why, it's because God's presence will never leave me.
Hasn't this been a roller coaster? Okay. Okay, let's take this story back to the Christmas of 2019. Everything is going how Christmas usually goes. Everybody's happy and joyful without knowing a thought in their mind of everything that's going to happen in the following days in the year of 2020. Fast forward a couple days after Christmas, it was either the 28th or the 29th. My family is celebrating our last Christmas at my great-grandmother's house. About halfway through the gathering, after we took our yearly family photo, there was a crash in the kitchen. Not a plate falling, someone spilling a drink, but a person falling. In this moment, as an 11-year-old, I had no idea what was going on. A very close family friend pulls us into another room and just hugs us, crying a bit. He looked so fearful. Me, my brother, and my sister were clueless, but my whole family knew the situation wasn't good. My grandmother had just suffered a stroke, and the EMTs were already on the way. My grandmother stayed in the hospital for 3 to 4 days. Me and my siblings got to see her on our last day to say our final goodbyes. I was the last of my siblings to see her. It took me a second to gather the courage and fully embrace how difficult the whole thing was going to be. I got into her room with my mom and held my grandma's hand. I made a joke, and one of her machines started going up. My mom said it was her laughing at what I had said. As I'm starting to finish my last goodbye and I love yous, the doctor walked in and offered my mom, me, and my great uncle a prayer. We finished the prayer, and even with how hard the situation was, I felt at peace, like a presence was in the room that we couldn't see, but we could feel. Like how I knew even though my grandmother would be gone, the whole situation would be all right. And that she was in good hands. With the service today being based on keeping your head above water, I felt the story was the best to share. With everything that happened in 2020, with my grandmother passing on New Year's Eve, and COVID happening only 4 months after, I learned from a very young age how to keep my head above water and adjust to very difficult situations. Even though I'm still not the best under pressure and buckle very easily under stress, God has taught me ways to cope and work around situations and how to stay strong in the face of the struggle.